This is Israeli Technology Founders Speak, a podcast of conversations with successful Israeli high-tech and biotech entrepreneurs. With your host, Avraham Hermon. Iddo Peleg is the CEO and co-founder of Yonalink, an Israeli biotech startup that created a data collection and management platform for clinical trials. Avraham sat down with Iddo in the offices of Yonalink to discuss how Iddo came up with the idea, how he got funded, how he found a problem that needed a solution, tips for startup founders, and much more. This podcast is a creation of J.M.B. Davis Ben David, an intellectual property law firm serving clients around the world. You have great innovations. We keep them safe. It's not enough to just have a great startup idea or innovation. If you don't legally protect your innovations, products, and brand, anyone can claim them as their own. We keep your great innovation secure. Learn more by going to jmbdavis.com. That's jmbdavis.com.
What problem does Yonalink solve?
Yonalink is in the clinical trial business. Maybe before we'll speak about the problem, I can give you a little bit, very short background about clinical trials.
Sure.
When a pharma or medical device company wants to develop a new therapy, they need to do all kind of preclinical tests. But at some point, you want to test it on real people, on human. This is what we call clinical trials. It's a prospective interventional trials, and you need to do it on real people. These clinical trials are done mainly in the big medical centers or in medical centers or hospitals around the world, and all the data from treatment of the patient and all the clinical assessment are saved in the patient electronic health record. We call it the EHR.
Mm-hmm.
But then the pharma or the medical device company, they want to get the data from the trial. So how do you transfer it from the EHR to the clinical trial database? We call it the EDC, electronic data capture, because there is no connectivity. And every medical center has a different system. Even if they have the same system, it's structured differently. So you can go to any medical center in the world, you can go to Memorial Sloan Kettering, and you will find 1,600 people sit with two screens and manually copy all the data from one screen to another.
Wow.
From the EHR, the electronic health record, to the clinical trial database, because there is no connectivity.
It seems kind of inefficient.
It's inefficient. It's a very gentle word to say. It's like this market is 20, 25 years behind. Do you know any other market that this is how we transfer data? And the problem is more than that. Okay, let's say that we already copied and captured the data manually. At the end of the day, you need to submit the data to the FDA or to the EMA to get the therapy approval like that. And there is no way you can submit data with mistakes, because when you copy data manually, you have mistakes.
Sure.
The clinical trial sponsors, as I said, the pharma or the medical device company, they send monitors all over to the medical center. And what they do? Again, they sit with two screens and verifying the data.
Wow.
Now think about an average phase 3 oncology trial. We collect around 3.6 million data points.
That's a lot.
The majority of these data points have been captured and verified manually.
Wow. That's a lot of work. I know from my experience in the pharma field, being a patent attorney in a pharma company, there was huge expense associated with clinical trials. Are you aiming to lower that expense?
Exactly. And these expenses, the free money that the pharma companies have to invest in R&D, it's wasted on manpower, on inefficiency. So we can take the same amount of money and just do more clinical trial, make the clinical trial more efficient. And this is exactly where Yonalink is aiming. Okay,
that sounds good. So how was the idea born, and how did you become involved in it?
First of all, I need to say I'm a clinical trial geek. So I'm in this industry for over 20 years. Over the years, I managed huge oncology clinical trial, thousands of patients, dozens of medical centers. And all the time, I say to myself, there is no way that this is how we collect data. There must be a different way to do that, more efficient. In Israel, it's a small country, but outside in North America, a monitor of the data is being trained on a specific protocol. So they need to travel all over North America It's 2 days travel because 1 day to the medical center, 1 day back at home. 2 days to be on site and verify the data, and 1 day to write the manager the report, what they did over there.
Mm-hmm.
This is inefficient. You can take this entire week, just delete it. Over the years, I got involved more in the side of the data collection technology for clinical trials. And in 2019, together with my co-founder, Gav Martel, we decided, okay, we are going to solve this huge challenge that it's stocking the clinical trials for become much more efficient.
Mm-hmm. Can we talk a little bit about where your investment comes from?
Yonalink is a classic B2B in a very tough market, which is a digital health market. We have investments. First of all, we are very grateful for the Israel Innovation Authority that gave us the kickoff investment in order to start together with a few angels from the United States.
Mm-hmm. This is a common theme in a lot of my guests from the podcast. They thank the Israel Innovation Authority as being one of the first organizations that invests in them.
This was a huge help. And following that, we got the seed investment we got from eHealth, which is an Israeli venture capital that invests in digital health and in medical device. We got from the Biopharm Fund, which is a VC based in Switzerland. Lots of experience and in clinical trials. And also from the Europe Innovation Council Investment Fund.
Mm-hmm. Okay, interesting. So your company appears to combine two separate and very different fields. Clinical studies, which is a high focus on life sciences, and computing. How do you do this?
This is, you just nailed it. The problems that I just mentioned, it's like obvious. It's not that I'm the first one to think about the problem and try to solve it.
Right.
Over the years, a few companies try to bring this problem for a solution. What happened is that during the last year, there was a lot of advance in how to integrate with EHRs from one side with the electronic health record. And there is a lot of technology progress, how to map the data, not just get the data, but also to map the data and to harmonize it. And specifically in Israel, we have a lot of people, very talented people with a lot of experience that know how to combine very advanced technologies. All this type of new technologies like AI, machine learning, LLM. And then we developed a system, what we call Yonalink Connect, that can connect almost for any EHR, any medical center in the globe, take the data, harmonize the data, and prepare it for the next step to integrate in the different database of the clinical trials.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you about patents and intellectual property. Does intellectual property play a role in your company and your business strategy?
So this was a learning curve for myself because I started in a biotech companies.
Mm-hmm.
I was involved in a lot of patents, and really to register patent in the biotech companies, it's very simple and it's very straightforward because you know that you have your molecule, you have your idea, and you need to register the patent.
Yeah, and not only that, the patents play an extremely important role in protecting the product.
Exactly, and in the valuation.
Yeah.
When you're writing a code and you want to have a strong patent, you need to do it very wisely. It's much more complicated. It's much more hard to get a patent.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to think very, very wisely, and you need to find the right approach in order to do that. Once you have it, it can be very strong. Especially in our case, where Yonalink is one of the pioneering companies in this industry. I think we are part of 3 or 4 companies that developed what we called in our niche EHR to EDC solution. And to have a strong patent, it's super, super important. And yes, we started with filing, obviously.
So you mentioned this briefly about the ability to connect technologies and being in Israel. What else does being in Israel have an impact on your company, on Yonalink?
Okay, so this is very interesting because the company founded when I lived and worked in Toronto. So my family is from Toronto, and I went to my kids to get a little bit of Canadian resilience to the cold. So we moved to Toronto for a few years. I got a job offer over there. And my co-founder, Gav Martel, right now is in Boston, but he's also from Toronto originally. Even though we started the company in Toronto, we understood that if we want to have the best ecosystem for digital health, for any quick innovation and a quick development, the POC and the MVP,
proof of concept and
minimal valuable product. Even in one step before commercialization, Israel is almost one of the best places to develop this product. And it's not just, you have other good places, but I think with the Israeli environment, I think it's the quickest way to do that.
Okay, that's a good answer. So it's a bit of it's not just out of nationalistic or Zionistic motivations that you're here, but practically you think that this is a good place for development of the product, the company.
Yeah, and we need to be, we have shareholders in the company, and our first commitment is to our shareholders.
Right.
We need to we are grateful for the people that invested in Yonalink, and we need to take a business-wise decision.
Mm-hmm.
And from that perspective, I think you can see the market. People all over the world invest in the Israeli high-tech and in all the Israeli biotechnology companies, not because they are Zionists, because they understand that there is something special is happening in Israel,
mm-hmm.
and you can do things over here that is much more quicker, easier, and smarter, I think, from other places.
Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit about your biggest hurdles moving forward as a company.
I think this is related to your previous question, because there is an ocean between where we are sitting right now and the market.
I see. Okay.
The ocean, it's a huge barrier. It's a barrier from, first of all, it's a time hour barrier. So
right.
This is okay. Okay. My calendar is open every day until 3 p.m. Eastern time zone for meeting.
I see.
So this is technical.
You stay up late on Israel time.
Yeah. So this is like a technical problem, but I think it's about Americans or Europeans like to work with the same people.
Mm-hmm.
So we are going to keep Yonalink plans. We are transitioning now. A lot of our activities, sales and marketing is already in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
R&D is going to stay in Israel, but the entire company is going to be more and more US focused and US employees.
I see. Do you have any tips for founders who are just starting with a new company or with a new idea?
Yeah. So to open a company, and I learned it in the hard way, it's not a part-time job. You need to be fully invested. When we started Yonalink, I quitted my previous job. I didn't have even a single dollar in the company bank account. You need to be fully invested into it and fully committed for that. This is the most important thing.
Mm-hmm.
Second thing is you need to find the right partners. To do it alone, it's feasible, but it's very hard. And I have Gav Martel next to my side. I think together we are super strong team. Alone, it was very hard to achieve it, maybe unfeasible. Another tip is if you don't stick to your mistakes, and I will give you a short story.
Sure.
After almost 1 year and a half, we decided that we made some very basic mistake in our code in the system.
Mm-hmm.
So the easiest thing is to say, okay, let's put a patch or let's try to go some work around it. We decided to take the entire code, all the work that we did for 1 year and a half, throw it to the garbage and start from scratch.
Wow.
Because we have learned so much during the years about the EHR connection, about the mapping, about new technologies I started to that we could incorporate in our code.
Mm-hmm.
So after 1 year and a half, we started everything from scratch. And if in the old product, with the same performance, we had more than 50,000 lines of code, in the new product, we had 5,000 lines of code. So this is 90% less,
mm-hmm.
and with better performance.
Interesting.
And also now we are changing a little bit with the code, and all the time in startup, you need to have a super strong product. If you don't have a strong product, you have nothing.
Okay, sounds good. Tell me a little bit about what stage the company is on now and where you see yourself in another year and then another 5 years down the road.
So the company is we are starting our A round in the summer. This niche of market of what we call EHR to EDC, from the EHR, from the electronic health record to the clinical trial database, we have a very specific types of venture capital that are very interested in this domain. They are approaching Yonalink. Yonalink is one. I don't want to say that we are the strongest player, even though they think like that. I think we are definitely one of the leading players in the EHR to EDC market. We have sales mainly in the United States. This is our market. This is our focus to go to the United States. We believe that Yonalink can be in a break-even sometime in the second half of 2026, which is unusual for a startup, but the financial results speak for themselves.
Okay, good. So you're at the point where you have a product that's already working and you're working with big pharma companies.
So this is what is interesting. The innovation in clinical trial is a different approach. It's bottom up.
Mm-hmm.
The big aircraft, the big pharma companies, for them to shift or to switch for a different system, it will take them years.
I see.
They are the last adapters.
Okay.
And most of the market in clinical trials are biotech companies. They do the phase 1, the phase 2, sometimes the phase 3.
Right.
The pharma companies, the big pharma companies, in most of the cases they come later on. So we have very strong partners, mainly, as I said, in North America. I think we have great days ahead of us.
So Iddo, thank you very much for hosting me once again. I appreciate it, and I'm wishing you and your company lots of success, and hope to hear good news from you guys in the future.
Okay. Thank you for having me, Avraham.
That was Iddo Peleg, the CEO and co-founder of Yonalink. We hope you enjoyed this episode. There are many more to come. Do you have a great innovation or startup idea? We'd love to hear from you. You can reach out to us by going to our website, jmbdavis.com. And if you go to jmbdavis.com/startup, you'll see we have a special site specifically made for startups to help startups protect their innovations. Please be in touch with us and find out how we can help you. Thank you for listening, and we look forward to bringing you the next episode.